we're gonna start with the circle. In my opinion, it's the easiest. Now you can freehand it if you want. None of the shapes have to be perfect at all. See, I didn't even draw mine center, but that's okay. Totally not a big deal. That's why God gave us erasers. We just shape that out. We shape it out, and that's, you know what? For what we're doing, it's just practice. We're just getting used to holding the pencil. Now, you'll notice I'm holding my pencil kind of like this, and I'm basically cheating. Um, I'm using the distance from the tip of the pencil to the fulcrum, which is my finger, to make the arc. If I have a super, if I hold it super close, the angle is going to be different. If I stretch it way far out, the radius, I am left-handed, but if the point of the pencil is furthest from your finger, you get a more gradual arc. Yo, left hand gang, let's go. Just draw him going, would you love me if I was a sphere? Yo, Gerbil, what's up, buddy? Alright, so we dated our drawing. We drew a picture. We drew a sphere. Well, right now it's a circle. It's going to be a sphere. That's good enough. Nothing too crazy. And the only right-hander is true. Is true. Um, we need to pick a direction that the sun is coming from. And to do that, how we can demonstrate, I have this balloon and a flashlight. So if the, does that convey well? Yeah. So if the sun is coming from like over here, you can see like one part of the sphere is brighter than the other. You switch it, and the shadow switches. So it doesn't matter where your sun is coming from, but if you want to follow me, we're going to have our sun coming from right here. All right, that's our sun. And as we all know, if you draw the sun, he has to be wearing sunglasses. That Look, I don't make the rules. Need a new eraser real quick? It's okay. It's okay. In fact, I would encourage you to just roll with it. Just roll with it. Because we're going to slowly start filling in. We're just going to fill in this very edge of the sphere. Because remember, the sun's coming this way, the light's shooting that way. And so this is going to be the darkest part. Exactly. Ben gets it. And we want the part that's furthest away from the sun to be the absolute darkest. We want it to almost disappear. And right now, the shading does not look very convincing. Does not look very convincing at all. We can build up some of the midtones. And even the middle of the sphere is going to have some shading. Don't be afraid to get in there. And even the part closest to the sun is going to have some. Not much, but some. And then fill that in a little bit more. nice and easy. It's going to slowly become more and more convincing. Now, I've been advertising this class as really all you need is a pencil and a piece of paper. A little of both. I write with my right and throw with my right, but I often swing with my left and play basketball mostly with my left. Interesting. Interesting. So, my, I draw and write with my left hand, but I'll throw right-handed. Um, do nearly everything else with the right hand. Even when I would compete, um, my my rifle was a left-handed. It had to be custom built, like because left-handed rifles so hard to find, and so um, I would often have to use a right-handed. I did competitive target shooting from late elementary all the way up and through about the middle of college. Um, but um, if I had to borrow a right-handed rifle, but shoulder it left, um, I'd have to reach over to get the bolt, and that's a very, it's a very awkward. So no, it's just one more pain of being left-handed. Yeah, exactly. We're the same person, then I right left-handed. Shoot gun bow with left hand. Shoot pistol, pull with left hand. Can't do anything left-handed. I wouldn't recommend it anyway. Everything else right-handed, nice. Yeah, exactly. The Beatles know. It's a reason they're one of the best. Okay, so anyway, uh, this didn't come in your kit, but if you really wanted to be gung ho and take shading like super serious, you wanted to like go crazy with it, you can pick these up at either Michael's or I think Walmart even has them, but they're smudge sticks. And they're used for blending, but you don't need that. Exactly. Exactly. It's just rolled paper. So an alternative is just regular Kleenex or a square of toilet paper. It's not a doobie. It's not a doobie. If you don't have toilet paper, if you don't have Kleenex, you can even use your finger to smudge that in, get that get that shade really convincing. Now, if you bought the kit and you want to get your money's worth out of the kit, we can take the 6B and really make the dark part of the circle convincingly dark. Smear that in. Don't worry if you get outside of the lines, we'll fix that later. That's not showing up. We're just gonna add some tone to the whole thing. Yep, your finger's dark now. It's just finger painting with graphite. The reason I encourage toilet paper or tissue paper or smudge stick is for that reason. So if we go over the whole thing, we just have a gray blob. That's okay. We just did our midtone. Now you have a midtone, and it covers the whole thing And you can kind of see if you do it right, you can also kind of use kneaded eraser for the same purpose. I've never used it for blending, but you can definitely come along here and really sharpen that edge up. No, no freckle. That's just for us. And we'll slowly like inch up into the mid-tone. We're not being overly careful yet. And you'll notice I'm kind of doing this half moon shape along. That's going to help us convince the people who are looking at that sphere. It's going to help convince them that it's 3D. It's going to trick their eye a little bit. And we switch back to the 2H, by the way. Forgot to mention. Blend that in. Now, something, if you're drawing realistically, if you're going for realism, there's no like harsh lines in nature. You're never going to see like that with some shading on the end of it. Doesn't happen in nature, only happens in cartoons. So what we want to do is we're actually going to take the part closest to the sun, and I'm not doing very much. I'm almost letting the weight of the eraser do the work. We're going to erase this border. Maybe some slight finger pressure. We can even creep into kind of the center of it. And then we're going to use a little bit more pressure to make the furthest edge, the edge closest to the sun, really vanish. Where you almost can't see it. You almost can't see it. And we can say I took a little bit too much away. You can just use the graphite that's on your finger or your smudge stick. Just add some back. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. If you mess up, the whole reason we wrote this, the whole reason we dated it, is so we can go back. We can see how we improved. It helps us notice like bad habits as well. And I'm not perfect either. So what we can do is go along the border, and we're going to take out some of the fuzziness. And once again, I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. The eraser on the back of your pencil can do this just fine. This just makes our lives a little bit easier. And we're almost sculpting. We're almost sculpting that edge into the shape that we want. Sculpt the edge into what we want. Now I'm using a considerable amount of pressure going around the edge. Helps that Vendra's voice is not anxiety causing compared to the average teachers. I say as a teacher. Oh, that's very flattering. I actually had a algebra teacher. his name was Kamesh, who somehow, some way, made math like one of the least. I just threw my pencil. Just yeeted it. And because I'm super picky, you don't have to do this. Your circle's fine. I can tell. And so that's looking pretty good. That's a convincing sphere. O's and 7. Waffle Smacker. What's up, buddy? Featured live in Japan nearly every morning. Waffle Smacker. Honor having you here, buddy. I know it's early in the morning for you. How's your Friday? I took a photography class in high school as my art class. Nice, nice. Always a treat having a waffle in here. But I try not to be anxiety causing. It's not something I would want to be caused to me. And if you're not usually here for like when I'm playing video games, it's pretty much the same tone. Pretty much the same tone. I don't get riled up by a lot. I had to learn how to develop film by hand and make prints in a darkroom. That is really cool. That's basically chemistry. They use a bidet. I wouldn't recommend holding your drawing above your bidet. Unless you're using like waterproof paper. So let's find our number 2 pencil again. So now we're going to draw the border of the shadow. Mine's going to go off of the page a little bit. So I'm going to do like a smaller one here. And we'll reference this one too. Second semester we did digital cameras and learned from nice. So the shadow is going to be an oval. I see it a lot when people do shadows. Like if that's their sphere, they'll try to make the shadow a circle as well. But you got to remember. All right, so we have our sun casting a shadow. See, it's like elongated. Oh, you can't see that? It's elongated. It's not the exact shape. Time for smudge and art. So we actually want to draw like an ellipses or an oval. And you can, if you're a little worried about drawing like behind the sphere, just draw over it. Just draw over it. You probably won't even see it. And I went out too far here, so we're gonna bring that back in. Bring that back in because the sun is casting a shadow this way and this way. So really, the end of our shadow should be like way over there, way over there. So our shadow goes about right here, and it's off the page. We can't see it. And we're going to do a nice mid-tone to start out with. Just kind of get the general idea. We're still on our number 2 pencil. And whether you're using your finger, piece of toilet paper, tissue paper, doesn't matter. And if you go over your oval, don't worry. That's why we have erasers. We'll just claim some of our shape back. Kneaded eraser comes in handy here because we can kind of shape it into shape it in the way that we want. I can words. I can do that. Get in that chorus. Just notice the sun in the corner. Yeah. Get some of that shape back. Then the shadow. Oh, the kneaded erasers? For sure. What I like to do is I like to open them up as soon as I get them. And then I just leave them out there and let air get to them for a little bit. It kind of hardens them up. It's so fun to use. Let air get to them a little bit. They harden up, kind of like Play-Doh. So we're just kind of emphasizing our mid-tone a little more. Remember, we're trying not to make a hard line. And we smudge, smudge, smudge. And in case you haven't seen, I would absolutely love to see your guys' results. If you want to DM me on Discord, if you want to post it in either the Epilogue Gaming's channel. I don't normally do this because Epilogue Gaming's an awesome place to be. I highly recommend that community. But if that's too big of a crowd, come to my Discord, post your results. If you want kind of like a smaller audience to see it, I totally understand. I think this is pretty good. It's really fun seeing how. It's really fun. Sorry, Mr. Chat. It's really fun seeing how the pencil and pen drawing styles differ. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's Gen Con? So glad you asked, buddy. So, Gen Con is a board game convention in Indianapolis. It's actually 190 or 182 days that I'm going to do a meetup with my community. And we're going to hang out. it's not genuine question. And so now that we have a good midtone, dude, Frickle, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be so fun. I'm excited to meet you too. Now that we have our midtone, we need to emphasize that. Just make a sphere real quick. That's close enough. Grab our sun. So if you notice, it's hard to tell from the studio light or the document camera light, but the area under the sphere is going to be a little darker. If only I could go by train. It's going to be so fun. There's going to be Magic the Gathering. There's going to be I think if we were going to take the Amtrak, we have to leave out of Toledo at like 2 in the morning. One keyword had. But we're going to darken the area just under the sphere the most. That's where the least amount of light is hitting. And you're almost going to notice the shadow of the sphere disappear into the shadow it's casting And that's just kind of physics. I don't know, I'm not a physicist. Now it's a utility hall for the town. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so now that we have that, we can smear this out to just make it a little more convincing that it's a shadow that, like, dissipates. Turn into an event center, and they made a new station. You should have just kept the old station. That's how it works. So sometimes, and so something fun you can do to just like cheat a little bit more depth is add a horizon line. I don't know if you can see it. I'll do it with a little bit darker. This is the 4B if you're using the kit. But the horizon line, switch to right hand. Ooh. Horizon line just adds a little bit more depth. And since I'm not like right over my paper, it's kind of hard to guess where things are at. Damn you, Amtrak and Class 1 railroads. I've been saying that for years. No, I'm just kidding. We're pro public transit in this channel. We're gonna erase the sun. Erase the sun. Do 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 do. And I think we'll about call that done for the sphere. Remember, leave your date on there. Date it if you haven't already. You can come back to it a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later. If you want a communism day, I guess you can. I guess you can have it. I'll allow it. As your communist overlord, I will permit this. Okay, so next we're gonna do the cube. The cube gets a little challenging, but we can get away with quite a bit.